Check, check. Hello. What is up, everybody? Welcome to another Friday. Another Friday means another Tech Support Live. So you have us for an hour. And before I go ahead and introduce our great panel of hosts, thank you, Darren. Thank you, Michael, for coming. This is Tech Support Live. This is your hour to essentially ask any questions you guys have in terms of setting up your product, in terms of maybe you're looking to upgrade, or maybe you just want to hang out and just kind of enjoy this time here. But either way, this hour is for you. So for anybody here who is in the chat, drop your questions in, and then we're going to go in chronological order, starting from the top to the bottom. So just to introduce myself, if this is your first time here, I'm Angelo. I'll be your host for today. I'm a senior interactive media specialist here at NETGEAR. So I manage this NETGEAR YouTube channel, the Night Hyper Gaming Twitch channel, and really if you follow any of our social accounts like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, everything, there may be a chance that I had my hand in the content that you saw. So that's me. I'll pass it off to Darren. You're next.
I'm Darren. I'm a technical support specialist and community moderator. You'll typically find me on the community and sometimes on social media answering technical questions and helping people out. Hoping we can answer a lot of questions today. Off to Michael.
Okay. Hey, everyone. I'm Michael, Technical Marketing Manager. I spend a lot of my time working with our products, especially our beta products. I also manage a lot of what's going on our Amazon pages. I monitor the reviews. And in the real world, when we aren't in COVID, I do a lot of the trade shows. So I do a lot of the direct demos with people. And I'm here to help answer any questions you got.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you again, Darren and Michael, for coming. If this isn't your first time here, you may have noticed that we unfortunately do not have Ben for today. You are our Nighthawk Pro gamer. So we're going to do our best to answer any of your gaming questions or anything really about Nighthawk Pro gaming. But either way, we do this every week, 12 o'clock Pacific time, 12 o'clock Pacific time to 1 p.m. Pacific time. So if we're not able to answer your question today, we always have next week, and hopefully we'll have Ben back in to answer all your gaming questions by then. But awesome. You know, one thing I saw right before we started here, we already had 5 likes. So thank you, everybody, for joining early. I know that's something that we always encourage here on the show. Again, we always like to start from the top, going to the bottom. So the earlier you are in here, you know, I love seeing the chat kind of essentially just kind of popping off even before we start. So it's really, really great to see. Okay, the first one that I did see from Ryan Fries. Thank you again, Shady Joker, for coming every single week. We love to see it. And unfortunately, I don't have any chocolate chip cookies on me. I don't know about you guys. But you know what? Keep on the lookout. Maybe we'll... No, I can't tease any more giveaways because you guys know me. All right, Karen, Vanessa, That Gamer. Thank you. Thank you for coming back every single week. Same with Dan Tuma. I see you are back. I wanted to shout out... Extra Shots Kaji, if I'm pronouncing that name right. I think that's my first time seeing you here in the chat, so welcome to the show. And, oh, Dan, Christine, we actually have our boy Christian, Christine's alter ego, in the chat. So if you ever see any comments coming from here on out for anything from the NETGEAR YouTube account, that will be from our boy Christian. Gareth, welcome back. And good evening from a wet and windy UK. Oh, man. Well, good afternoon, I think, from here in California. It's kind of cloudy here. I don't know about you guys or Darren. I think it's pretty sunny down there, isn't it? In SoCal?
Yeah, it's 70. Feeling good.
Perfect. Perfect. Chamzo, best in networking is NETGEAR. We love to hear it. We love to hear it. Oh, man. And then it looks like here it is here to hang out with us. And, you know, with that, I actually don't see too many questions yet. Okay, besides That Gamer, we'll get to that in a quick second. So, again, everybody who is just joining right now, please throw in your questions, and we'll get to them as soon as we can. And if we don't have any questions, we were actually talking a little bit early before we started the show on what we're tinkering on. So that is going to be the first question I asked the team when it starts getting quiet. All right, but looks like That Gamer has a request here. I think less so a tech support question, but more of a request. Can you guys add the option to change the LAN DHCP lease time on the Extra 500? I want to change it to 24 hours or a week. How would that work?
that sounds great, but I would ask that gamer, why do you want to actually change the DHCP lease times? Is there a particular need that you have, or you just want to have that option to be able to do it?
Good question. Good question. If you ask me, I'm kind of a newbie on this one. I can't answer anything from a technical standpoint. But yeah, that gamer, yeah, if you provide a little bit more context, maybe we could kind of help you out here. And Dan, yes, it has almost been a year since doing the show. It's honestly insane. Oh my God. I think when we were starting, it was around, actually, I think it was like early March-ish or so.
Yeah.
So maybe like give it a couple more weeks and then we'll hit our 1 year anniversary.
Yep, it was a couple weeks after we went into lockdown that we started doing this.
Yeah, awesome. And, just everyone here who is in the chat, like, we started this thing really to kind of mitigate the influx of, let's say, social media comments coming in. I think as we're kind of headed towards shelter in place here, we got lots more folks, one, interested in buying our products, or they already bought it and then they have questions on setting it up. And I don't know if you guys have ever done any mass responding on social media or community or anything like that. Anyone here who's in the chat who has seen it on the other side, but it gets pretty wild here. So again, if this stream or pretty much everything that we're doing here today, you find it valuable or you want to keep the show running, tell your friends to come in, or maybe tell anyone who essentially would find this valuable and give it a like, send us a subscribe, and that's going to help us keep this going week by week. But all right, Michael, you got your answer from that gamer.
Yep. Yeah. Basically, he just thinks 30 minutes is a little too short, and he wants to be able to have it for at least 24 hours, which makes sense. A main reason to have it on 30 minutes or very short time periods is that way when devices drop off, that IP address becomes available for other devices. But honestly, even with the amount of devices that we have now, where people can have like 60 devices connected to their network, on the Class C IP license that you have, you can have up to 254 IP addresses handed out. So you don't really need to limit it worrying about running out of IP addresses.
Okay.
You also can preserve the IP address so it doesn't change for that device when it drops off the network.
True. Yep.
Cool. Yeah, again, if I can understand it, hopefully everyone else in the chat can understand it. To step it back a little bit, what exactly does DHCP mean? And in terms of kind of like, let's say for me, I don't know anything about this. How can you put this into layman's term in terms of what DHCP does and what lengthening or shortening the time would result in?
Yeah, well, first of all, every network device that's connected to your network needs to have a physical address that the network can, that other devices on the network can find it. Same thing as your home address. When you get mail and like where I live comes to 173 Langtree Lane, that mail comes to my house. Same thing with IP addresses. It's a unique identifier for each one of the devices so that when another device has to talk to it, it knows where to go. So what DHCP is, it's a dynamic way of giving these addresses out. They don't need to be, most of the time, they don't need to be permanent. They can just be temporary. Think of it like if you go to a meeting and you tell everyone in that meeting, your name is Bob. And in the next meeting you go in, you say your name is Frank. As long as you're in that one meeting, you're Bob, you're Frank, doesn't really matter what your actual name is. So with DHCP, you have a DHCP server applet that's running on the router that whenever a new client connects in, it says, give me an address. And so it has a pool of addresses and it says, all right, we'll take one off the top. We give it to you. We set that one aside. And every 30 minutes, hour, day, week, whatever your DHCP lease is set up for, when that client starts getting close to the end of the lease time, it'll send another request back to the DHCP server saying, I'd like to continue keeping this IP address. And it just keeps leasing it out with this like every 30 minutes saying, yep, I still want it. I still want it. If the device goes completely off the network, after a certain amount of time, the DHCP server will say, okay, that client hasn't contacted me in X amount of time, so I'm now going to release that address back into the pool so someone else can have it.
Wow. Okay. You know, that makes a lot of sense. And I'm not just saying that just because I'm dealing with the housemate situation. We're going to have to figure out where we're going to move.
Oh, good.
So this is all fresh in my head right now. But wow, that does really help me out here. And chat, you know, if that's something that you guys, you know, found helpful too, just leave some clapping emojis or something in the chat here for Michael, because wow, that really does help. You know, kind of putting that analogy of leasing it out, or you know,
Yeah,
the
and-
address, yeah,
Yep,
or the
and it
meeting too.
It just has to be a temporary thing because that device may never connect up to that network again.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, for instance, if you go to a coffee shop, it has to give you an IP address when you connect up to their network, but it doesn't want to reserve that address to your device forever. Once you leave the coffee shop, it wants to be able to put it back in the pool again so it can give it to someone else.
Gotcha. Okay, makes a lot of sense here, and everyone in the chat is going to see it in a few seconds, but unfortunately, we did lose Darren here.
What?
I know. All right,
I
here.
don't see you up there either.
It's okay. You know, I'm gonna do a quick switch up here.
Okay.
We're gonna keep this interesting. All right, Michael, you are moving all the way here.
All right, I can feel the move.
You could feel the movement here.
Feel the move. I'm just moving over this way.
Oh, there we go.
Moving over that way.
Perfect. All right. So, oh boy, it's Friday, man. It's all good here. So we did get a couple more questions, but let's see if we get Darren back here. Otherwise, there's going to be a little bit of a void on this side here for now.
Yes.
Michael, you got it a little bit on your side, and when Darren comes back here, we're going to have to kind of switch things over again. You got a couple thumbs up from Kev, I think.
All right,
for
thanks.
that last for the last explanation. All right, so let's keep things going. All good. You know, we'll all adjust when Darren comes back. But one comment, Dan Tuma, this show is one of the few good things about Corona. That warms my heart. That really does.
The beer.
Yes. Oh man. Yes. And not the beer. Yeah. So yeah, again, this whole community here, you know, our group of returners, this is something that we honestly didn't expect here, but we love and appreciate every single one of you for coming back here, because again, you know, this is one of those things where we thought it would be kind of tough, you know, throwing ourselves out here to the sharks. For anyone who, hey, I don't know, my thing has this X, Y, and Z thing going on, like, help me out here. But in reality, you guys are great, super nice. You guys are encouraging everyone to like and subscribe before we even say it. So again, thank you very much from the bottom of our hearts. And that gamer told us that he told his friend about coming over to the show. So again, something that we largely appreciate here.
Very nice.
Awesome. Oh, we got
Hey, Darren's coming back.
Darren. What is up?
Peter decided it wanted to restart.
Oh no!
You didn't hit that button, did you?
Didn't even come up.
It didn't even
Okay.
come up. It just happened. Oh, they could
Yeah.
just see my mouth here. Okay. All right. No worries. We're just doing a little bit of a switcheroo here. This is what happens when we're doing all this stuff live here. Let me put you back in here. Where'd you go, Darren? There you go. All right, back from the void. All right. Either way, we didn't get too much farther than the DHCP question here, but I think we're back. I think we're good here. Cool. You guys saw that. All right. So Gareth, is there a regulatory limit to the max signal transmission level for Wi-Fi routers, and how close to that limit is a typical NETGEAR router? Signal transmission level.
And the answer is yes, there are definitely regulatory limits. And part of those were put on because way back in the day, they didn't have as much regulation on the max power. And so a lot of the router vendors were putting options in where you could just really crank up the power output on your device. The problem is that everything needs to play nice with everything else. And if too much power is being put out by one device, it's just going to run over everyone else. Kind of like if you're at a concert and you're trying to talk to someone and they've got the speakers turned all the way up from the band, you can't hear the person next to you at all.
Or,
So they didn't have maximum limits so that things try to play nicely together. And how close do we get to the limit? Most of our routers basically hit up towards the top of the limit because you want to maximize the amount of power that you can use. But also with the beamforming on our routers, that adjusts the actual output power strength depending on where the client is and how much power it needs. So it's not just blasting out at full power all the time.
Oh. So it's running efficiently, not just trying to, you know, splatter paint on a wall kind of thing.
Right. You want it to run efficiently. Otherwise, you know, it's going to run over other devices. In fact, you'll see a lot of times that routers will affect Bluetooth devices that use 2.4 gigahertz. If the Bluetooth device uses 2.4 gigahertz to connect up, then it starts having interference problems. And that usually happens with like mice.
Oh, okay. It's well, the first thing that came to my head was, you know, kind of growing up, I had this car. I had a Jetta, the 2006 Jetta, and it was that awkward year when there's no aux cable, and there's a 6 CD changer, but obviously I don't want to carry a pack of CDs in my car all the time. But I have now Spotify, brand new thing. How do I play my music? And FM transmitters. Like, I mean, I don't think those are that old, but those were always frustrating because I felt like the limit was a little bit too low for your radio to actually get good sound quality that comes out of this little transmitter that you have in your device. So it's kind of like that, right?
Yep, kind of like that.
Okay.
Except on those little transmitters, they could have bumped up the power on them because the limits on the FM transmitters aren't so low, but those devices have, you know, usually put out very little because they wanted to keep the signal within the car.
Yeah. Because I always thought about it like I'm messing up everyone else's signal as I drive by them or something, you know?
Yeah, I still use one of those.
Yeah? So it's not that old, right? It's not that old.
And the older technology works better now because there's less things that interfere with it.
Yeah. Oh, okay. That makes sense. Oh. I don't want to go back to the FM transmitter, though.
But I can say 900 megahertz devices work great now.
Nice.
Because no one uses 900 megahertz anymore. So any old device that uses that has a nice clean spectrum because there's nothing else on it.
Yeah, my FM transmitter works just fine. I mean, it is newer and it connects Bluetooth to my phone and then FM transmits to my car.
Oh, okay. They've gotten better since I was in high school then.
But yeah, I drive a 2005 car, so I don't have the hookup.
Exactly. See, it's that weird, awkward year of cars, man. I don't want to go back to that. But all right, Gareth. I mean, I hope we answer your question here. You know, again, I just like to make these things into something that I could understand because, you know, hopefully if I could understand it, we could kind of spit it back out to you guys in a way that everyone can. You know, I'm at the bottom when it comes to the knowledge. I'm here to host. No, I'm just kidding. Kind of. Okay, Kieran. I may have an extra 1,000 on the way from NETGEAR. Awesome. Okay, so NETGEAR Armor. I have 300 days left on my Bitdefender subscription. Does Armor make my current Bitdefender sub kind of useless? Okay.
The answer is yes.
Yeah.
Because Armor is based on Bitdefender, and if you have Armor, then you don't really need the Bitdefender.
Yep, that's true here. So
could he like contact Bitdefender, see if they'll transfer it to Armor? Because I don't know, maybe
I don't think so, because they're getting Armor through us and Bitdefenders through Bitdefenders, so I don't think that it could transfer over. But hey, it never hurts to ask.
Yeah. And so here's also my thing here. I'm curious on the extra 1,000 if because essentially when you set up the router, it's going to ask you if you also want to set up Armor. So idea, can you set up your router, not activate Armor yet on the extra 1,000, wait until your current Bitdefender subscription is over, and then you activate Armor?
That's actually a good question. I'm not sure how they have that set up on the back end, whether or not, because I know by default they want you to have Armor for your free, your free trial, and I don't know if you can set it up afterwards once you've said no. I
think you can skip it. And just use the Bitdefender you have, because Bitdefender on its own is just a software program, right?
Yeah. Well, I understand what Angela's asking though is, could he basically not use the Armor until his Bitdefender subscription expires, then turn Armor on? So you're kind of maximizing your use of both of them.
And let's see here. So Yeah, I mean, that's the first thing that came to my head, but let me see here. Christian, thank you, Christian.
Yeah,
for doing
Christian
a link.
covers this in the community. He definitely gave a link to what is happening there, and we can work with him if
Yeah.
something doesn't go right as well.
Good.
Let's see it. Bitdefender, NETGEAR Armor, separate independent subscriptions. Okay, yeah, yeah. So they are separate. I think that's kind of what we're saying here. So, yeah. I mean, again, you don't have the extra 1,000 yet, so that's my first recommendation is to hold off. But if for whatever reason it activates, you know, kind of just drop back in here and kind of like keep us tuned in on progress. They are technically separate, but you know, we'll kind of have to kind of work through it step by step as you're going through it. That's my first recommendation, which I have to be careful here because we always want everyone to activate armor right when they set up the product. But in your case, you know, again, I want to answer your question accurately, not just you know, what everyone wants to hear. But all right, let us know, Kieran. Let us know, Jerry. The issue I had with the extra 500 with DHCP is smart light switches. Okay, they would disconnect and if they were not used, drop IP, and then have a hard time reconnecting because they wanted to use the previous IP and another device already picked it up.
So you definitely want to go in and use address reservation in the router. That'll save the IP address based on the MAC address. So anytime that drops off, it won't give that IP address out to something else. It'll wait for that device to reconnect the network and give it that same IP address, so you don't have those type of issues.
Yep,
Gotcha.
exactly.
Gotcha. All right, cool.
Yeah, smart devices are very touchy on networks anyway. They often have problems with networks staying connected, and yeah, doing the DHCP reservation on that will help out with that IP problem. So Darren's spot on.
Nice. So smart devices aren't that smart.
No, they're actually really dumb smart devices.
Oh man, well, that's an oxymoron. All right. All right, let's go to Dan. In a network like an AX5400, what is the limit of connected products? Good question. AX5400, which model number is that?
AX5400, let's find out.
Oh, it's the Rex 50.
Oh, okay, yeah. There it is.
All right, just so everybody could see here in the chat, I believe, is it the RX50 here? This is
It is the RX50.
Yeah,
yep.
AX5400. Yep. And then there's one with armor, one without, but hardware-wise, they're going to be the same. Oops. Sorry, guys. Okay, so let's go through this together. Tri-band Wi-Fi 6, up to 5.4 gigabits per second, and then you, this one is, wait, is this dual band or tri-band?
I believe that this
Good question.
is...
I thought it's dual band, right?
Sure.
It says dual band in the...
I think this is dual band.
Yeah, because I think that's what sets it apart. I thought only the RTX like 200 was one of their only Wi-Fi 6 tri-band ones. Yeah.
As far as that question goes, in our tech specs, they're saying it's rated for 25 plus Wi-Fi devices. In reality, though, that's really a tough question to answer because it has to do with what those devices are doing on your network.
Yep.
With the standard IP scheme that routers put out, it's under something called a Class C license, which means that you have an IP range of 255 IP addresses. One of the IP addresses is used for your router, so you can actually technically give out 254 IP addresses.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But you can't have 254 devices all trying to run at the same time on your router because it's going to just bog your router down. 25 plus for this, they're figuring with average use where you're wanting to be able to have, say, a couple of TVs that are doing HD streaming while a couple of people may be playing games online, and then you have your smart devices as well. But if you had, say, 10 devices that were all trying to do HD streaming at the same time, that probably would bog the router down. That would bog down most routers trying to do that many streams. So it really just depends. But in our literature, it's saying 25 plus Wi-Fi devices. So figure if you've got a place that has 30 to 40 devices, and a lot of those are smart devices or devices that aren't going to be using a lot of bandwidth on your network, then it's going to have no problems having them all run without slowing things down.
Yeah, cool. Oh, that's a great explanation, Michael. That's pretty much everything on the top of my head. But yeah, I mean, it is going to kind of, your results may vary, one, depending on what do you do day to day, you know? Like someone who, let's say for us right now, you know, we're streaming, we're probably using a good amount of data coming in and going out. And then let's say, I don't know, I had 2 other housemates that are full-time streamers too. And I don't know, they're gaming a lot, online multiplayer stuff, streaming to a bunch of people all at once. That is going to limit the devices a lot more rather than, let's say, yeah, what Michael said. Let's say you just have like, I don't know, 15 Echo devices around your house, and you know, for whatever reason, you got an Echo in every room, and then, you know, that's a lot of devices, but it's going to use a lot less data than, let's say, 3 people on like 3 super heavy congested kind of computers, like running all these streams all at once. So yeah, that's
internet connection is also a big factor in that equation too. If you're trying to get all these devices out the internet, not just transferring files across the network, it's some people might be able to handle 10 because they have a slow internet speed. Others can handle more than 10 because they have faster internet speed. It just varies from devices, internet speed, routers. It's just a big equation that you got to figure out.
Yep. Cool. Yeah, so that's kind of like our kind of best bet, Dan, in terms of answering your question. If you're really more curious about, hey, is maybe the RX 50 right for me, maybe versus another product, you know, just let us know what you're comparing, and then we'll be able to kind of help you kind of guide in which way you want. But that's why we're here. So, you know, Dan, happy to follow you up. And again, we're actually hitting almost our halfway point. So we got about 30 minutes left until 1 p.m. Pacific time. So everyone drop in your questions, and we'll get to them as soon as we can.
Drop in your likes, because we like you.
If we get over 20 likes again, that is like baseline minimum that I'm looking for every single one of these shows. I don't know what you guys got last week, but I remember the last time, I think the last 2 weeks ago, that was pretty good in terms of people coming in here and answering questions. So again, the more we get, the more often we can kind of do this kind of stuff. And also, this is a side note. This is actually like, you know, before I even get to the next questions here, I'm going to be hooking up the stream pretty shortly to Streamlabs. So we're going to be able to, stream to not just YouTube, but also Facebook at the same time.
Excellent.
Yeah, I don't want you guys to get all messed up. And then when you guys see us like answering a bunch of questions, not from
Twitch
here.
as well? Are we doing all 3?
You know, we can do Twitch. We can do Twitch. But if you're on Twitch, would you find this as valuable as, you know, Facebook and YouTube? Or would that get too unwieldy? I don't know. Like, you guys let me know. Either way, we could do all 3 of those platforms, and then I could also test Twitter too, but I don't know how many people are on Periscope, so you know, that's our next thing. And I want to be able to kind of put these like cooler transitions, you know, have you guys' like, I can't even have it, but like your comments like flying up, so you know what we're talking about. You know what I mean? Let me know.
The cat filter on all of us.
Yeah. Oh man. We're gonna make it more fun, honestly. Like,
absolutely.
Yeah, it's Friday. Like, you know, why not? But either way, let us know your suggestions, and then, you know, these are things that I'll be testing out through the next couple of weeks. But all right, that gamer. In relation to non-tech support related questions, if a device doesn't have an IP, can it still communicate? Can it still communicate through the MAC address with other devices on the LAN? I can definitely not answer this question.
And the answer is yes. That's called an unmanaged switch. Our unmanaged switches don't get IP addresses, but they can manage traffic going through them. And that's usually, when people are talking about a device that doesn't have an IP address, it's usually a dumb device that's just meant to move traffic around, and unmanaged switches is one of them.
Okay. Device that doesn't have an IP. What's a good example of that?
An unmanaged switch.
Oh, that is the device.
But maybe if is he asking like a PC without an IP, can it communicate? That's what I think he's trying to ask.
And the answer is no. Because even with PCs, if it doesn't get an IP address from your router, it'll get a default 169 IP address, which won't be able to talk to anything else on your network, but it will get a default IP address. And just for a quick history lesson, the reason for that default IP address is that if you wired 5 PCs together through a switch, you have no router attached to it, and powered them all on, they would actually be able to talk to each other across the network. because part of the standard was that once a PC boots up, if it doesn't get an IP address after a certain amount of time, it automatically defaults back to a 169 IP address, so that all of the other devices that also weren't getting IP addresses would still actually have a network.
Wow.
It's rarely used anymore, but it was a default that's still there. So
Okay.
if your PC ever boots up and you can't connect to the network, and you go and check its IP address and you see that it says 169, then that means it wasn't getting an IP address from your router. And so it had to generate its own.
Oh. So 169 is a default IP.
Yep.
Okay, it'll assign itself. Ooh. All right. Well, that was a good explanation to something that literally reading that I wasn't too sure. I'm getting there, but hey, I think that makes sense, especially for that gamer. I think you have a very specific kind of situation, which he has, or they have followed up here. I currently have hybrid VPN enabled on the XR500, but I have IPv6 disabled. My ISP does support IPv6, but if I turn it on, does it risk an IP leak? I don't know if that makes sense, but enable or disable?
Well, it definitely shouldn't risk an IP leak. That should have nothing to do with that IP leak. And in fact, the IP leak normally goes back to that the IP reserve time that we were talking about earlier. And what it means is it gives out an IP address, and then that IP doesn't get put back in the pool, so it just keeps generating more and more and more. And turning on IPv6 shouldn't affect that at all. Some people with IPv6 turned on, there's certain devices that have problems when that's on. Usually it's some of those smart home devices can sometimes have problems with that. And if you find that you're having problems with it, then turn IPv6 off. But it shouldn't have a problem at all turning that on.
So enable when we can.
Yes, so you can enable it. And if you don't have any problems, leave it enabled.
Okay, cool. Hope that helps. I'm learning a lot more on the show today, I think, than most others. Because if I can't answer it, then that means I'm learning, right? You guys will know if I can answer it, because I'll try to step in here. But maybe Hamad, I could answer your question when Wi-Fi 7 expires. Or when does Wi-Fi...
Wi-Fi 7? We have that?
I don't know.
I mean, he's in the future.
I know. Maybe Hamad, are you like in 2025 or something? Because
Right.
like honestly, I'm very curious.
Wi-Fi 7's already out.
Yeah, because I'm curious on how that's looking. No, I'm kidding. But I mean, in any effect, just to kind of lay it down here, and again, maybe provide more context here that could help. Right now, we're on Wi-Fi 6. We just announced our Wi-Fi 6E RAC 500 router for CES 2021. And I think that's really kind of where we are as a whole company here. Really trying to get everybody here who's in the chat, all our customers here to kind of understand the benefits of upgrading to Wi-Fi 6. And I remember, I think ever since I've essentially started here, we always like to kind of use the analogy of like, hey, how often do you upgrade your phone? Because imagine there's probably there's a lot of people here who we've talked to that still have their R7000s, which are great products. But imagine if the R7000's been around since, I don't know, beginning of the decade, beginning of the last decade or so.
Well, probably at the beginning of the last decade.
Yeah.
But the R7000's been around for probably 8-9 years.
Yeah. So almost a decade. So
yeah.
Like 2011, 2012, 2013. Imagine what kind of phone you had back then. Would you still use that same phone now, kind of thing? That's kind of how I like to think of it. But either way, we're in Wi-Fi 6 now. Moving to 6E if you're going to be able to take advantage of that new band. But right now, Wi-Fi 6 is the wave. I'm very happy with my Wi-Fi 6 router. It's a tri-band.
Yep.
It's great. Okay. Razer 2048. Welcome to the show. Currently have one, and with an Intel AX2000 Wi-Fi adapter, downloading from 2 wired devices at the same time. Gives a real-world throughput of 1.6 gigabit per second sustained speed on a single Wi-Fi client in a congested area with 65 gigahertz APs in range. Oh my God, where are you?
Wow.
Where do you live? Do you live in like
yes.
a tech university or something? I'm trying to just figure this out. But yeah, I
That
think
almost sounds like he's in the middle of NETGEAR corporate headquarters.
yeah, I know. Like,
And we don't even have 60 APs in there, I'm pretty sure. We have more than that in routers that people have turned on. But I think our actual APs, we don't even have 60 of them.
Oh man, yeah, and that's really crazy to think about because I already thought there were so many devices bouncing around, and then at the office, like
Yeah.
there's sometimes I remember when I was starting my internship, I was like, "What's that high pitched noise that I keep hearing?" And I swear, I started asking that around, and there were a bunch of people that like not know what I was saying because they couldn't hear that really high pitched frequency. But I was like, "There's something in the air."
How
So-
old were the people that you were asking?
I don't know. I was just asking everybody. I was like, I hear this noise.
Or were these engineers that have been spending way too much time in their labs and all that noise just turns into background noise to them?
Yeah, I don't know, man. Maybe I'm still young, or maybe I don't know. I just remember.
It'll affect you soon enough.
I know. Soon enough. Soon enough. I'm not looking forward to it. But all right, hey, Razor2048, thank you for providing a little bit more context. I think this is, following up, I think on a previous question here. I'm not sure if it's on the Rex 51 or another product we were talking about. Oh wait, this one was the. There was a follow-up comment. I missed your first comment, Razor. One easy test: set your AP to use 40 megahertz channel width on the 2.4 gigahertz band. Try listening to Bluetooth audio within 10 feet of the AP. Audio is guaranteed to be pretty much choppy. I think we're talking about the limits, right?
Well, no, this is where we were talking about the Wi-Fi affecting Bluetooth devices.
Dang,
and that
I got it wrong
basically saying
twice.
when you kick it up to the 40 megahertz bandwidth, it's starting to override the Bluetooth on your speaker, which is why you end up with the choppy sound.
Wow. See, I am everywhere during the show. I got to study up more a little bit. But yeah, no, you guys are pretty freaking smart in the chat today. So thank you. All right. Extra shots, we're providing a little bit more context, I think, to the RX50 here. Uncheck Smart Connect, I think, yeah. And then what Smart Connect does is put everything in the, combines the 2.4 and the 5 gigahertz network here. And then I think we're just kind of getting a little bit more tips into, I don't know, getting the best bang for your network, I think. All right. Jerry in Extra Shots has responded to this, so let's back this up. True or false? How many device IP reservations can be used on the Extra 700? Extra Shot says 255 devices. True or false?
False.
Oh, dang. Okay. What's up, Michael?
254, because one of those IP addresses has to go to the router. But
You're on a roll.
I think Jerry was asking about how many IP reservations, as opposed to handing out IPs. Basically, if you want to reserve an IP for a device, like we were talking about before for your smart devices, so that your IP lease doesn't expire and then it tries to connect up with its old IP address and it's already been given out. And on that, I would have to check on the XR700, but I know a while back we bumped up the number of IP reservations that you could put in the reservation table to 64.
Nice, nice. Wow. Again, a lot of really great information today here. So, yeah. Jerry, let us know if we answered your question here. I'm gonna...
And also, Extra Shots was technically correct because the router is considered a device as well.
Yeah. So we're kidding. Extra Shots.
Right.
You get some bratty points. We'll give you a... What does Ben call it? A no prize? A prize that's a no prize? I'm still trying to get it, but that's what he calls it. Hamad, welcome back. Is it better to have a mesh booster attached to the router provided by your ISP? Better than nothing, I guess, right? But
it depends. If you're having problems with range from the router from your ISP, then absolutely adding the mesh booster to it will help because that's going to extend the range farther, and that's what it's designed for. If you're already getting really good Wi-Fi around your entire house and you're not noticing any speed slowdowns, then wouldn't make sense to add it. But most houses these days, you need to add something else there to get a little bit more distance, unless you live in a place that's 700 square feet.
Yep. And I would agree with that. Like, first and foremost, because one, what the range extender, essentially the mesh extender, will, essentially provide, is kind of in its name here. It's gonna extend your range. If you're looking for something that you're trying to like boost your speeds, it might give you better speeds on the farther side of your house, but it's not going to give you better speeds right next to your router, right? So it really kind of depends on what you're actually trying to use it for. But like Michael mentioned here, especially now that I've worked at NETGEAR for a few years now, once I've known like what good internet is like, I can never go back, right? So I would agree. Something that's provided solely by your ISP isn't going to be necessarily the best hardware for you. And then that's kind of where we come into play, where whether you want to completely replace that gateway or if you want to add on to it, whether it's a range extender and you're trying to, maybe get Wi-Fi outside or something or on the other side of your home, that's where we'll come in. But either way, yeah, let us know if that helped.
Yep.
Yes, get something either to replace or add on to your ISP. But will depend on what you're trying to use it for, and then we'll help you kind of guide which product is best for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that gamer, no, I'm not going to try to melt Angelo's mind teaching him the OSI model. I'd even have to go back and refresh my memory when I went through all those classes and learned that. That would be a cruel thing to do to him.
I know. What are you guys trying to do to me now? Like, I know we only got like 17 minutes left, but man, this is like when I start getting canceled, honestly.
Yeah, all that's gone from my memory from college. Can't remember it.
Oh man, I don't even know where to start because I can't even tell you anything about what the OSI model is. So maybe we'll leave it.
I thought you were going to say anything about college. You've forgotten it all already.
Yeah, what did I learn in college? That's why I'm kidding. Yeah, we'll get there. Ask that in the beginning of the show next time. Oh no, ask Alec next week. That's what we should do.
Yeah.
Ask Alec next week. That gamer. That's some homework. All right. Digital B. Should I wait for the Wi-Fi 6E Orbi? Okay, good question. But also at the same time, why not wait for the Wi-Fi 7 Orbi or the Wi-Fi 8 Orbi?
It's like new cars. Every year, there's one that's a little better.
That's true. Yeah.
Sooner or later, you got to jump in because there's always going to be something better around the corner.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I said that kind of cheeky, but in any case, I think the real kind of question is, one, Orbi Wi-Fi 6 right now. That's going to be our flagship router, and that's going to be our flagship router for a long time. And that's just something that's not just me working here. Like I just know based on the hardware, it's going to last you a long time. So based on that, is that something where you can budget it now and you're willing to upgrade and kind of rework a couple things in your network and you're willing to put in that effort now? Or maybe if it's like a lower priority and the product that you have right now is going to last you a few more years and you're okay, that's kind of like the first kind of situation I would throw back at you. Are you willing to wait or do you need something now? And if you're willing to wait, yeah. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, and also I would say, are you someone that upgrades your client devices often? If you aren't, then it doesn't make sense to jump into 6E right now because you won't be getting the benefits of the E on the 6E because you don't have any 6E devices.
That's true.
The Orbi Wi-Fi 6 would give you the same thing that the 6E would give you until you start getting the 6E devices. You can use that 6 gigahertz band.
Mm-hmm.
So more of a lifestyle thing of how often do you upgrade your other client devices.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. So yeah, I mean, really kind of state of the industry now. I mean, I think from a supply perspective, I think we're still just starting to roll out Raxi 500s. I don't even think they've started shipping yet. I don't know if anyone here knows.
Nope, they have not.
But yeah, so in any case, if you're looking for something Wi-Fi 6E now, I would encourage you to take a look at the Raxi 500, get yourself on the wait list, order that, get that one ASAP. Because, as far as I know, I can't comment on anything coming out in the future. But if you're trying to hop on the 6E, like essentially train right now, go for that route. If you could wait, or maybe you just want something Wi-Fi 6, go Orbi Wi-Fi 6. You will be very happy with either one of those choices. And I'll kind of leave it at that. All right. Kieran, what is your favorite thing about Duma? I'm going to pass it. Darren, what is your favorite thing about Duma?
Being able to set the geo filter so you don't have to play with people across the world and be on their terrible host and getting frustrated.
Good answer. Good answer. Michael, how about you?
Well, Darren stole my answer, so my second answer is looking at all the pretty graphs. I love going in there and just looking at what devices are using up how much bandwidth and just having fun, seeing what's going on in my network.
That makes sense. You know, can I answer this like a little philosophically? I actually like it more from, like with NetGear Gaming came, you know, obviously partnering with Naduma came NetGear Gaming. It was the community. That's my favorite part. Is that a lame answer?
I like that answer. Good one.
But being able to, one, start the Twitch channel, being able to go to the events, go to South by Southwest, go to PAX East, go to TwitchCon 2 years in a row. Those were super cool. Those were super cool. And like being able to like do meet and greets with people, like in terms of like we partnered up with Energy in the past with and we had Dizzy from, what did he play?
Apex.
Counter-Strike. Now he's playing.
Counter-Strike.
Yep. Because I think they're like kind of hopping on Valorant now, I think. But yeah, Apex back in the day for sure. Really, really cool moments of my career. And that's my favorite part about Naduma, was meeting people like you guys at all these events. And like, you know, kind of being able to work with you guys and partner up and just create cool content. That's my favorite part.
You stole the show on that one.
No, I just answered it in a weird way.
Which brings me up, maybe we should get on Ben to get that Discord going for people in the future.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. You know, I have a Discord account, but then I think we try to start the internal one kind of back in the day, and then, you know, it's kind of like a shell right now. But hey, chat, if that's something you're interested in, like especially for, like we had so many people asking. I mean, I think we still get asked this, but like for so long, hey, DumaOS 3.0, you know, getting feedback in. When is it coming to this product or that product? To the chat, would you guys be down for a Discord channel? Let us know, and then we're gonna kick it over to Ben to start that. Yep. So, you know, let us know. See, that's the kind of stuff that I want to hear from you guys, because I tell everyone up top about what you guys are telling us, and things happen. So that's our secret here. Oh man. Oh, and then to that point, Ryan, thank you again for that thumbs up. Again, we hit over 20 thumbs up already on our stream here. If we could do 25, I'm gonna stretch it out a little bit. That'd be amazing. But again, thank you everyone for the support here, and you guys are the reason we keep the show going on week by week by week. All right, so Karen, I think we answered your question here. Razor, to why there's 60 access points where he's living. I didn't even think about that, but man, and in New York City, that makes a lot more sense. That does make a lot more sense. Oh man. And I'd imagine, like, you know, these buildings are gonna like vary building to building and like made out of different materials. You'll have concrete walls in one to like paper thin walls in another, and it's a whole mess. That's why we encourage you guys to come up to us and really figure out what's the best product for you, because imagine all those people living in New York all have a different situation. Okay. Extra Shots, you got a kudos from, Michael, you got a kudos from Extra Shot about the IP.
Thanks, Extra Shot. Appreciate it.
All right. Okay, Razor. Will NETGEAR consider offering an option to export and import specific settings, such as address reservations and port forwards? This would make setups much faster when upgrading to a new router.
Well, the answer is you can do that, but unfortunately, it's only when you're going from the same model of router to the same model of router. If you back up your settings on the router, say on your XR700, and then your router dies, you need to get another XR700, you can upload those settings to the new one. But I know what he's actually asking, which is something that I've suffered with for years, which is every time you upgrade to a new router, you can't pull the old settings off of your old router and automatically import them. Instead, you've got to manually put them all in on the new router. And especially when you're doing IP reservations, things like that, that can take a lot of time. Between that and port forwarding, you can spend a lot of time just recreating what was in your old router in your new router. And it would be great if they had a tool like that, but I have not seen any manufacturer that makes a tool that allows you to go across router models as opposed to just with that one particular model.
Yep, and you put in one wrong number and then you're searching for a long time, like, what I do wrong?
Oh yeah, yep. And especially with the IP, well, actually, IP reservations now are a lot easier because you're literally picking it off of a pick list
Mhm.
of
Yeah.
devices. In the past, you used to actually have to type it in by hand, and yeah, one number
Poor
wrong,
forwarding.
and it's a pain.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. It's like, how do you automate something like that, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
My automation is I take screenshots of every single page in my router that has customized settings, and then when I get my new one, yep, manually go in, put it all in. It's a
So,
great suggestion.
yeah, it's a great suggestion. And if you have any idea on how to make that happen,
Yes.
I'm sure everyone else would be very curious on how to make that work. But hey, again, one thing I did want to shout out, if anyone in the chat isn't aware, we do have, you could submit feedback on the NETGEAR community. I forgot what their link is, what that link is, but Chris was able to throw that in. But either way, those kinds of suggestions are great for our team to know. And the great thing about having that on the NETGEAR community is that you can upvote it kind of like other social platforms. So if it gets a lot of votes,
You mean NETGEAR team at netgear.com, hashtag stay connected?
Yeah. Well, that's the email for
Yeah.
like the one-on-one help, but I think I'm thinking of the forum. I forgot what it's called.
Yeah. I'm trying to think what it is too.
Yeah. Why can't I think of it?
It's a strange name.
Yeah.
It's the feedback, but it's not called feedback.
Maybe
I
that
know.
means we need to change the name so it isn't so hard to remember.
What is the name?
Idea exchange.
Idea exchange. I'm going to put this on. I'm going to float this up just so everyone knows what we're talking about here. This is what we mean. Idea exchange. Yes. Man, that's kind of funny. But yeah, if you suggest an idea here, throw it in here. And oh, you got to log in. But either way, throw it in and see 90 upvotes, 339, 13. If it gets enough of these upvotes, then they go straight to our one community team, but also the product team to start working on them. So cool. All right, we do have about 5 minutes left, so I want to make sure that I could get to everyone's questions here. All right, I guess a lot of people have that kind of situation. They had to start the long process of IP reservation, smart devices. Shout out Jerry. Same thing with Ricky. Biggest problem I had when rebooting routers, printers, getting new IP addresses, and I got to set those up. All up. Oh, man. So idea exchange. Throw it in the idea exchange, but we're also going to need a little bit more technical expertise on how to actually make that happen. All right. Oh, and that gamer, I did want to shout out your comment here because I think it's pretty insightful. My favorite thing about hybrid VPN, I can VPN any device without having to install software on it while getting 0 ping for gaming. Impressive. The VPN for guests and connection for gaming. Yeah, that's exactly what it's supposed to be used for. Cool. Wow. All right. Best Wi-Fi 6E mesh extender. Do I know any? I don't know any.
The answer is there aren't any yet.
Yeah. We're so early. We're so early on the cycle here, and just to kind of let you guys know again, CES 2021, we just announced the router, but I've been here for the last few years here. Just kind of look at the pattern here. A new standard will come out. Like I remember Wi-Fi 6, big announcement. We're gonna start with. I think we did Wi-Fi. Yeah, we did Nighthawk for Wi-Fi 6 for first. But look, we rolled it out to other devices. So stay tuned. I can't guarantee anything, but just stay tuned. So when I do know, I'll have a good answer for you. All right. Avik, welcome to the show. What's the max link expected on 2x2 MIMO devices on 5 gigahertz, on 80 megahertz, and 160 megahertz? I can't answer this one either.
I don't have those numbers off of the top of my head.
Oh man, good question. Good question here. Max link speed expected on 2x2 MIMO devices on 5 gigahertz.
Yeah, I believe on the 5, the max speed is supposed to be 600 megabits a second, but I wouldn't swear to that. I'd have to actually do some digging to get the actual numbers. Not something I have on the top of my head.
Are we looking for like the highest theoretical speed?
Yes.
Okay. Yep. Okay.
And basically, if you've got 2x2 devices and you're on the 5 gigahertz, what's the maximum speed you'd get if you're on the 80 megahertz setting and if you're on the 160 megahertz setting?
Yeah, very, very good question. We'll try to dig that up. I don't know if we could do that in 5 minutes, but in any case, Avik, welcome to the show here. And if we're not able to answer that, encourage you. I'll just toss this out there: NETGEAR team at netgear.com, and then put hashtag stay connected in the subject line. Hopefully, we'll be able to kind of reach out to our engineers here, get you a little bit more of an exact number if this is something truly that you're curious about. But otherwise, come back next week and then answer your ask your question early on in the show. We'll have a little bit more time to kind of dig into it a little bit further and hopefully get you something. But that goes for everyone here. So again, thank you for asking your question. Hope you are able to come back. All right, that gamer. My school Chromebook kept disconnecting from my Extra 500 when I disabled HT160. Then it finally had a stable connection. Why did that happen, and what is HT160? Great question that I also can't answer. God, what's going on?
Well, HT160 is the 160 megahertz bandwidth that they were talking about, that we were talking about previously. And it opens up more channels for devices that can use that so they can get faster speeds. Basically, more of the bands to the channel they're on, it opens up more side bands. But it often causes problems, especially with some older devices. And yeah, turning that off is a common troubleshooting technique to see if that fixes it. And that's the reason why he had turned his off, was it can cause problems with older devices. And if you don't have devices that can use the 160 megahertz multibands, then there's no reason to have it on, because it causes more problems than it helps.
Oh,
with it being a Chromebook, being a fairly cheap device, I doubt they put the extra money into supporting that.
No, yeah. But it is a common troubleshooting technique.
To disable it, is it so? It's automatically enabled. On
most of the
routers.
time, it's automatically enabled, depending on the router, the firmware, whatever setting they have.
All right. Wow. So again, I learned a lot today. So that's a really good point here. So that gamer, you shouldn't have to worry. As long as your devices are working as they should now, you should be good to go. You should be set. All right. 1 more minute left. Speed round. Let's do this. All right. Hamad, how is the AX6000, and should I wait for 6E? I got to look up the AX6000. AX6000. Usually the model numbers help. The AX6000s are technically the highest theoretical speeds here, so that's why we need some of that context.
Yep, you're looking at the RAX 80.
Cool.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Speed round. RAX 80 versus Wi-Fi 6E. Should I wait or should I buy now?
Well, if you have Wi-Fi 6 devices, I would say, might as well buy the RAX 80 or one of our other Wi-Fi 6 routers, because 6E is still going to take a while for our router to come out. And then devices that actually use 6E always trail that, simply because why make a device if you don't have something that it can work with? And it depends on how often you want to upgrade your client devices.
Yep.
If you're someone that always buys the latest and greatest phone, then sure, wait for the 6E. That way, when it comes out, you'll buy a new phone that'll have 6E, you'll be set. But for most of the devices in your home, you're not going to be seeing 6E on them for a long time. And for your smart devices, probably even longer than that, because there's no reason for them to be using that higher bandwidth.
Exactly. So do you want the gratification now, or do you want to wait? Personally, yeah, it's going to take a little bit more time for 6E to become more mainstream. I would even say Wi-Fi 6 isn't even really mainstream yet either. So we're still pretty early, even on the Wi-Fi 6, and especially more so on 6E. So RAX 80 is going to do great for you, but if you're looking to buy, like what Michael mentioned, the newest phones that support 6E, might as well go for 6E. All right, very last question, speed round. 3 favorite movies. Go. Darren, you first.
Ooh, I don't know how we classify 3 favorite movies, but probably movies I'd watch over and over again. So, Major League. Man, I'm not a big movie guy. I can't really name. Come back to me for the other.
Okay. Mike.
And for me, let's see, Tango and Cash, Jurassic Park, and the original Star Wars.
Those are good. Those are classics. Mine are going to be weird. That's fine. Cloverfield is my favorite movie. I'm not even kidding. Cloverfield's my favorite movie. Then I'm a sucker for found footage, so I like Cloverfield and I like Blair Witch. And then my last one, it's good. That's so hard. Her, I really like Her, but these are like kind of more modern movies. Like I'm really bad when it comes to like the cult classics. So Michael, you have a way better answer than I do, but that's what I have to go with.
And I'll toss in number 4, Army of Darkness.
Army of Darkness. Awesome.
That's a fun movie.
Tommy Boy would be another one, and wow.
Oh, and
You have one more
State
there.
was good too. Yeah, I see that
Yeah.
over there from Hamad.
Oh, well, I guess any World War II movie. I'll watch any of those.
Battle of the Bulge. Good movie.
There we go.
Yes.
World War II. Awesome. Well, hey, I hope you guys enjoyed the movie recommendation. So now everyone here in the chat has something to watch, I hope, for this weekend. But again, thank you so much for a great show. Sorry, we're gonna have to end it here. So any questions that we weren't able to get to, I highly encourage you guys to come back next week, same time, 12 o'clock Pacific time to 1 p.m. Pacific time. We'll be here every hour, and again, we're gonna be kind of booting up our weekly streams essentially. So we're gonna be ramping it up pretty soon in the next couple of months here. So any suggestions that you guys have, I'm gonna be testing out Streamlabs for the next couple of weeks. So you know, if there's something that I should know about, or maybe there's some cool feature that I think you guys would find helpful here, you know, let me know, and I'll test it out and I'll try it out for you guys. But awesome. Thank you everybody again. Have a very happy Friday. Take some time off, enjoy it, eat lunch, do what you got to do. Thank you, Darren. Thank you, Michael, and we'll see you guys next week.
Later.
Thanks, guys.
Peace.